Okay, so I'm going to read a little parable so everyone can listen while they're eating. Then he also said to him who invited him, "When you give a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends, your brothers, your relatives, nor your rich neighbors, lest they also invite you back, and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the maimed, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, for you shall be repaid at the resurrection of the just." So that's from Luke chapter 14. So when I say the word poor, what do you guys usually think about?
Hobos.
Anyone else?
Below the poverty line.
Yes? Robert? Were you raising your hand?
People who are like on the streets begging for money. I know, but it says these are special kinds of hobos. The ones who have the weird hobo.
Alright, so yeah, those are actually usually what most people think when they hear the word poor. Like when you walk down Spring Garden, and me and my sister walk down Spring Garden, you know, they curse at you, or they say mean things, or they ask for change. Or some are actually really nice. So these are men and women who might be rude sometimes, and you think to yourself, oh, they did that to themselves, I shouldn't give them money because, you know, they made a bad decision, or they do drugs, or they drink, or they're alcoholics. So at one point, all these people had families, and they had a mom and a dad and siblings and friends, and so they're basically just like us. Something in these men and women's life went wrong, and they ended up in a place they never wanted to be. So what I take from this parable is to help those who can't help themselves. So simple acts of kindness can change a person's life. And I know you think that like someone you know would never end up on the street, but lots of people now don't know where they're going to sleep tonight. And that could happen to anyone if they make a wrong decision, or if somebody affects them in a bad way, or they, you know, kind of hang out with the wrong people. So I have met a person who I got to know over a couple of days, and he's a nice person, and he's very faithful and all that, and I hadn't seen him for a really long time. And I was walking home one day past McDonald's on Spring Garden, and I saw a boy who looked kind of young with a cup in his hand asking for money, and that was the boy that I met. And it kind of shocked me because I always thought that people who are on the street have a really weird past, kind of shady and bad, but really anyone you know could end up on the street. And they're not weird people, as you might think. They're not bums, as some people say, because that's a really mean word, because they're just like everyone else. So from that point on, I knew where poor and vulnerable people come from. So if someone in that person's life had invited them to their table, like the parable said, they could have had a really easy life if we all just reach a hand to someone else who's in need. So little gestures of kindness can really change someone's life. So if you know someone who might be going down the wrong path, invite them to your table, give them some advice, support them. And there's lots of places you could direct them to, like there's Hope Cottage and St. Andrew's Sunday Supper, and they give food to those who can't afford food. And also I know of a really good organization called Adsum House, which helps women who are battered and abused and who have had a really poor past. So our government actually, there's something called distribution of wealth, and basically in a nutshell, it's making the gap between the rich and the poor smaller, and our government doesn't do a really good job of doing this, so we have to make up for that by just doing simple things like volunteering and raising money in your school. So those are some things you can think about. So God created us all. We're all human, so we should treat each other that way because everyone is just like ourselves. So stop seeing the poor and needy as problems to be solved, but as people to be loved. Because really we all want to be loved no matter who we are. That's all they really lack in their life. So next time you come across someone who has significantly less than you, think about their family and their friends and their life, and remember they are once just like you.